It goes back now. Bennings falling. Oh, Chelsea scrambling away. There is Ramai. That's as close as they come. And there is the Mr. Mbata, morning. I see you testing your camera, ne? Yeah, we don't want to see the ceiling again, please. Unmute, Mr. Mbata. Check your audio as well. Check if it works.
Yeah, it works.
Excellent.
But it's unmuted now.
Yeah, yes. So it's working. Everything is in order.
Yeah. Oh,
Excellent.
that's fine.
Excellent, Mr. Mbata.
Yeah, because we still have a long day. We have a plenary at 10.
Yeah, the mini plenaries, ne?
Yeah, until 1.
Okay. Where are you in the office now?
No. I'm at home.
Oh, so you'll
We,
be.
we don't have buses on Fridays.
So it's virtual as well, the mini plenaries.
Yes, they're all virtual.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes it easier, yeah.
Yeah, at least
When are you flying out? This afternoon?
this afternoon my flight is 6.
Oh, okay. All right. No, so you can still relax in this beautiful weather. How's the weather in
Yeah,
KZN?
it looks lovely. No. I'm going to Johannesburg.
Oh,
Yeah, I will only see KZN next week.
okay.
Yeah,
So where
well,
are you based, Mr. Mbata?
Durban at home.
Oh, in Durban. All right. Okay.
Yeah, but for most of the time, I'm just here at work.
Oh, okay. All right. No, that's
Yeah.
fine.
No,
All right, Mr. Mbata.
we won award on Wednesday, so I'm going to head office to tell them how.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine, Mr. Mbata. We'll
Okay.
talk. See you,
Okay.
sir.
Thanks, Ariko.
Sure.
Sure. Bye.
Morning, members. I'm just following up where the chair is. Morning, members. The chair will be joining us now.
Morning. Morning, honorable members.
Morning, Chair.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning, honorable members.
Morning, Chair.
Okay, let
Morning,
me
sir.
try and let me, because I can't hear you. Okay, now I think I can hear you. Good morning.
Morning, Chair.
Okay.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning. Yes, morning. I'm sorry, man. This thing of 9 o'clock is messing with me. I can see now it's already 10 minutes past 8. We agreed that we have to have this meeting until at least the plenaries, because there are the many plenaries that will start. I wish to welcome everybody in the meeting. I really apologize, sincerely apologize for this delay. Let me try not to make a long speeches so as to cover up the time. Rico, will you please flight the agenda for us? Thank you very much, Secretary. Just move up with it. It's the welcoming, which I am not going to do it today. It's an extraordinary day today. And then adoption of the agenda and apologies. Can we get the apologies, Secretary?
Thank you, Chair. Just the following apologies. Mr. Bapti, who was flying out this morning, but he will join us as soon as he's sorted out, Chair. And then we've also received an apology from the Minister, who is undertaking an oversight visit to Eskom's Letabo power station this morning, Chair. Those are the apologies received, Chair. Thank you.
Also continue with the agenda so that we can do both, accept the apologies and also adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. So first, we'll get an update by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy on the National Solar Water Heater Program. And then we'll also consider and adopt the minutes of Wednesday, 5 March. And then also just an update on the envisaged oversight visit from 24 to 28 March. And just to update members on the international study tour options, Chair. Those are the items that we'll be dealing with today, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Rico. There is the agenda, honorable members, and it also needs just to be adopted and also accept the apologies as they have been tabled by the Secretary. Any other hands or any hand that will adopt the agenda and accept the apologies? I see the hand of Fusinkosi and also Mylem.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I just rise to adopt the agenda and accept apologies. Thank you.
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you very much. The agenda has been adopted and the apologies has been accepted and seconded by Honorable Mylem. Okay, can we then go straight?
You are muted, Chair.
Okay, can we go straight to the business of the day? Is Acting DG present with us? Who's going to present? Can I get that?
Chairperson, I'm on, and I'd like to then introduce the department, if I may, please. It's the Deputy Minister.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I didn't
Recording
notice
in
that.
progress.
I also wish to welcome UTM, and we really appreciate this thing that we are doing. When the minister is not there, at least we are always there. You want to introduce most the department, and then we'll get in when you feel. Over to UTM.
Thank you very, very much, Chairperson. And yes, I think I can honestly say that the Minister and I work exceptionally well together, and we definitely make sure that at least one of us can try and be in the portfolio committee meetings, because we do understand the importance of us accounting to you and being part of the team that presents to you. It's very much a part of your responsibility to do the oversight over us, and it's very much a part of our responsibility to ensure that we are there for that oversight to happen. So thank you for the opportunity, Chair. I know it's going to be a quick meeting, and I know that the solar water heater program has been a long-standing issue for this portfolio committee. When I was still a member of Parliament and on the portfolio committee, it was certainly one of the programs that we were very happy to fight with the department about every time they presented. This program has been fraught with a number of issues, and I think, you know, the idea behind the water heater program was a good idea, but unfortunately it was one of those things where sometimes good ideas are followed by unintended consequences and poor implementation, and I think in both instances this has happened on this program. So you will obviously get the report, and many of you are well versed in the report, as well as the exorbitant costs that have been spent on this program in terms of things like storage, which should never have happened. So it's not a program that we're presenting with any sort of pride to this portfolio committee, and it's certainly one of the things we've been battling to get, even from the DDG side, and not his fault, is to get a full audit on this program, which we have been requesting for several months now, and which has been blocked at various phases of the process. So I'm not entirely sure when we'll be able to have access to a full audit on the program, but today the team will present on the program, and I'm sure that they will be very happy to answer any of the questions that the members may have. But please understand that this is something we have been monitoring since we came into office, and we are looking at obviously whether or not a program like this is viable, and whether or not we would intend to proceed with something like this in our new department in the new financial year. But with that, I'd like to hand over to Deputy Director General Thabo Kekana, who heads up the Programs and Projects Unit, and who has been absolutely outstanding in keeping us updated on where we're at, but also on being open to having numerous engagements with respect to how this program is going to look in the future, if there is such a program. So if it's okay with you, Chair, I will then hand over to Mr. Kekana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, GM. Over to you, Mr. Kekane.
Chairperson, and also thank you, DM, and good morning to committee members as well. Chairperson, if you may allow me, can I share my screen?
You have been given co-hosting rights, Mr. Kekana.
Oh, I don't.
You know, I've given you.
Okay, let me try. Hope.
Yes, you can share your screen. Thank you.
There we go.
There we go.
Can the members see my screen?
Yes.
All right, let me do this before I start. All right. We all know why we're here, and we thank you so much for the opportunity. Just a bit of a background and a recap. We presented to the committee last year, September, where we provided a full account and of the program since its inception. I think our last briefing was much more comprehensive, of which we took the committee throughout the program, dating back to as far as 2010, 2011, up to 2024. There were a few commitments that we made in September in the last feedback, and the main objective of today's briefing is to provide the committee progress and feedback since we last presented here. Well, the program itself, we all know that energy security is still critically important for South Africa's growth, development, and the eradication of poverty. Eskom, being our number one utility provider, introduced what we call demand-side management program back in, I think, as far as 2008, 2009, with the view of shifting at least the peak and to reduce the total demand. As such, solar water heaters were identified as one of the technologies which could contribute to the renewable energy and energy efficiency programs. You'll agree with me, committee members, as South Africa, we've made a commitment as one of the Paris Agreement signatories. We are so much driving this, our just and affordable energy transition by introducing, most importantly, renewable energy, and also looking at energy efficiency as one of those interventions. Through research, the findings were such that water heating, we know that at home, represent about 40% of our electricity usage. And solar water heaters could save between 150 and 400 kilowatt hours per month of the transmitted electricity. I think nowadays, everybody, we are all facing high or exorbitant tariffs. So it will be prudent for most of us, or in fact, all of us, to look at various mechanisms on how we can actually, through technology and other means, we can reduce our monthly electricity bills. So back in 2009, the government launched the current National Solar Water Heater Program. At that time, the target was to install 1 million units by 2014. And fast forward at around 2015, that target was actually revised up, which was very aggressive, to 5 million in line with the National Development Plan objectives. So the approach was, or the goal in 2015 was to say, by 2030, we would like to achieve at least 5 million of units being rolled out throughout the country. The initiative aimed to promote renewable energy, of course, but most importantly, it had an ability to create those much needed jobs locally, and also to support local manufacturing industry in line with our localization objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, a traditional national water solar heater program, one can classify it or divide it into 3 components. And this is a study that was actually commissioned by the National Treasury around 2018, 2020, just to look deeper on how we can actually expand the rolling out of solar water heaters, given the fact that they have the ability to actually reduce electrical consumption throughout the country, irrespective of the social standing. So with that study, it was discovered that the program itself can be divided into 3 distinct components, which are the social component. And the social component is currently what we are dealing with, which targets low income households. The second one of interest talks to the demand reduction. Ladies and gentlemen, demand reduction, this targets the middle to high income household. You agree with me, in the last 5 to 10 years, as a result of load shedding, a lot of households, especially middle to high income households, they've invested a lot in solar PV, rooftop PVs, just to avoid load shedding. So with the demand reduction, there's an opportunity to say, okay, utilizing the current electric heaters, one could actually retrofit that current electric heater with what you call smart units, whereby during the day, you can actually draw electricity from the panels that are already installed, then saving electricity using smart switches. And the last one, which was also on the cards, was to say, we all know that the lifespan of a normal electric geyser, it's between 8 and 10 years. So during the replacement, there was a view that with the support of obviously the banks and maybe insurance companies, as we replace old electrical geysers, we can actually replace them with a new hybrid solar water heaters. But we've seen that the prices are extremely high. So the idea was actually, as we do the repair and the replacement, to call upon banks, support of the banks and insurance companies to roll out this type of program. So I will explain more. But this is the three kind of components in future that we're trying to introduce as we now when revising or redesigning this program. So again, if we may recall, the then Department of Energy in 2015, and which is now DMRE, which will now change again to DEE, has been spearheading the social component of this program. Key objectives of the program, if I were to run them through fast, the focus, as I've said, is on the social component. We are focusing on low-income and indigent households as targeted beneficiaries. This will actually help with accessibility of hot water at no cost at all, therefore cushioning our households from the current high energy costs. This is also aligned with the free basic electricity imperatives, of which, yes, the free basic electricity, which is currently sitting at about 50 kilowatt hour per month, we are also reviewing that and with a view of increasing it to at least 150 to 200. Also, some of the important factors based on the objectives, this program will support socio-economic development. It will help to reduce the peak electricity demand. It will mitigate electricity crisis that we are currently facing. And also, it will reduce the country's greenhouse emissions as we roll more and more of these units. Just lastly, this will also promote localization. And of course, through technology and technologies transfer, there's an opportunity to create much more jobs. Last but not least, the program will also assist with the increase of access to affordable energy solutions. A status update, as I've alluded in my introduction, this is a status update since our last briefing in September. As things stand, if we were to recall, back in 2015, the department procured 87,000 of the units. Of the 87,000, we managed to collect only 73,000 from the suppliers, and
Hello. Hello.
Mr. Kekana, we lost
had,
you.
One supplier
Hey.
holding successfully installed 59 medicine men. Hello? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
must
no,
say-
we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry, ma'am. I must say, we've traveled, we've gone a long way, coming from having procured 87,000 and rolling and collecting 73,000 and only installing a good odd 59,000, which amounts to about 80% of installations to date. And of that, we've been now currently left with 11,000, and of the 11,000, almost half of it still has to be rolled out. And we've been tirelessly trying hard to roll out all the units. So again, recapping, we're currently sitting with 4 litigation matters with these 4 companies. We are of the view, and we strongly feel that we have a strong case that we can win. And if we win that case, we will be able to ensure that the department is not exposed to any additional costs. So this is what we committed to do in September. And we were hoping by December we would have finished the project, so that with the view that now briefing the committee, the view was actually to present a closeout report. Unfortunately, due to various reasons that I'll cover in the presentation, we could not conclude the project as anticipated in December. The achievements to date, as I've said initially, from the inception of the project, we had 19 municipalities participating that were contracted. We terminated four contracts from the 19 municipalities, and 8 of those 8 municipalities successfully actually completed the installation in the last couple of years. We still have 3 municipalities that we're working with a view of completing the installations at least before Easter break. We have, as I've said, we have 4 outstanding litigation matters that we strongly feel that we will win the case with the help of course, of the state attorney. So I've already indicated where we come from with the 59,000 installations completed to date. And we're already, due to breakages over time, because we've been moving units from one storage area, and also as we install, we unfortunately experience some of the breakages, and some of the units are not really 100%. You'll find that some of the units are only 80%. So with that in mind, we decided to auction some of those units. And also, we were hit by some of the units that were badly damaged due to, in other instances, vandalism in storage areas in municipalities or attempt of theft. And as we speak, we are actually proud to present to the committee that from the 70,000 units, we are only left with just under 3,000 units that we are aiming to complete with the installations before the Easter break. The municipalities that we're now working with, we are having Bito in Eastern Cape, Western Cape, sorry. We're also dealing with eThekwini, facing various challenges that some are common. We are also, Polokwane is the one that has the highest number of the units, and we strongly believe and confident that before we go away on Easter, we would have closed all the installations, which would lead us to closing actually the program and also paving a way for us to learn from the lessons in the past, and also compilation of a closeout report. We're also happy to present to the committee that to date, in the current financial year, we successfully managed to eradicate all the storage costs that we've been experiencing that led us to spending over 300 million. So in this current financial year, we're happy to present that we have not spent even a single cent on storage. Challenges. Well, we in this program, we've been having a partnership. We're in partnership with our sister company, SAF. And unfortunately, around July last year, SAF indicated that they will not be continuing with the partnership, citing funding issues. I think, ladies and gentlemen, if I were to highlight, SAF, since the inception of the project, has spent, I think, over 200 million. And they felt like that all the money that was earmarked for the project has been exhausted and there's no money left. Well, with the withdrawal of SAF, it left a big dent and a hole for the department. And what we did, this is that dent is as a result of a loss of resources from SAF, which were very critical, technical resources during implementation. And that also forced us to look internally and beef up our team. So secondly, not only from a human resources point of view, also from financially, there was a little bit of a burden that was now sitting upon the department. So we had to tirelessly look at our funds internally and reallocate some of the funds and allocate them towards the completion of the program. So such funds that were under the wing of SAF included obviously the procurement of consumables, and these consumables are mainly, all the fittings. So you have a geyser and a tank and small pipings and fittings. So those fittings, they cost a lot of money, and we're talking about lots of fittings. So that's one of the headaches that the department had to now with the absence of SAF had to deal with. So we had to dedicate a procurement team to help us procure all those multiple consumables. At the same time, SAF, from technical perspective, they brought to the party what we call the quality assurance, which will go and inspect, upon installations and sign off that, okay, the work has been done in accordance with the specifications. So as a department, we had to now procure our own quality assurance from the market. We also had to appoint the service of what we call community license officers, because wherever we go, just before installations, we have to engage extensively with our stakeholders, mainly communities, to ensure that all the communities are on board and are informed about the process that we have been followed, in order to ensure that even those communities, part of the communities that were not allocated, there's reasons for that, and they will be served because failure to do so, we saw that in the past, it resulted in a lot of riots, a lot of communities that were not happy with the program, and it resulted with them actually disrupting the program. Lastly, what we've been facing challenges from procurement point of view, we've seen a lot of undercoating from potential suppliers. We've seen non-delivery of the actual consumables. We've seen incorrect components or consumables being supplied. We have terminated a couple of contracts, which led to the current delays. I think initially we were anticipating to resume installations around October with the view of completing the program by December. But we were faced with various challenges, especially from procurement, including termination of cancellations of contract. We had to re-advertise multiple times, but I'm happy to report that as things stand, we have started, we've managed to appoint credible contractors, of which as we speak, those contractors are on site and they are busy with the installations. We have introduced few things, some of the contractors, we found that they were not financially stable. So in the new procurement program that we did was to ensure the financial stability of the contractors before appointment. A prerequisite of a bank guarantee or some form of a letter from banks to ensure that whoever we are appointing, they are financially stable. So we made that a prerequisite, and we found that it actually helped a lot to bring credible contractors on board. Current and the future plans, we've learned a lot in the last 10 years on the program. Yes, what is currently in our horizon? On a short term, immediately, we want to complete the project by 30th of April before Easter break, just to ensure that the program now we've put it on rest. Then once we have done that, we will go and draft all the lessons learned. We will compile a closeout report, of which we will present to the committee, hopefully in quarter 2 of the new year. Once we have done that, we all now going to go back to the drawing board and develop a new program. We still strongly believe that the National Solar Water Program, it's an initiative that we should be driving, not in isolation, but it will complement some of the programs that we'll be doing, especially from INEP. We're repurposing INEP. We want to introduce other methods of electrification, moving from traditional or ever hybrid of grid connection as well as non-grid connection. And we want to couple non-grid connection together with this revised solar water heater program. Of course, we want to bring on board technical experts that we know they are out there in the market to help us develop a much more robust program that is in line with what we're trying to do, a program that will not lead us to some of the challenges and the setbacks that we faced in the past. So we're planning to implement the first pilot phase. Once we have done we've drafted the strategic and the revised program, we will first pilot it because we want to make sure that we go through this time around, we get it first time correct. But we're going to start with the pilot. We are planning to do the first pilot in the next, not in the next financial year, but the year after, financial year 26-27. Once we've rolled out the pilot will be followed by a full scale. Obviously, from the pilot, we'll see what to do and what not to do before we go on a full scale. At the same time, we're going to go on a national awareness. We'll conduct workshops with our participating municipalities in the next financial year, looking at things like their readiness, looking at conducting extensive technical feasibility, because in the past we've been faced with challenges that one could not even think about. I mean, in other areas, you'll find that the beneficiaries, the households that we were supporting, you'll find that the houses, their roofs are not in a good conditions. These are the kind of easy little things that we actually overlooked. So before we start the new program, we will do an extensive awareness and we'll do extensive due diligence. We are also planning to issue expressions of interest throughout the country for participating municipalities in the next financial year. which will be followed by due diligence. We will also make sure that when prior to appointment of any contractor, we will vet them. We'll make sure that they are technically sound, they are also financially sound, but at the same time, ensuring that we promote local manufacturing of these units. So our view and our goal is to implement what we call National Solar Water Heater Program 2.0, starting in year 2027-28 financial year. We all know that after being hit by a hefty 324 million rand worth of storage costs, this was regarded or classified as fruitless and wasteful expenditure by the Auditor General. We also commissioned a forensic investigation, which was led by KPMG, and also the DG was, as an accounting officer, was also had to display that consequence management, as advised by the AG, were well implemented. So I'm here just to provide feedback of the forensic investigation. So we will recall that the actual objective of the department was actually to issue a tender for the manufacturing, the supply and delivery, and most importantly, warehousing or storage of the units, with the intention to install the units at designated municipalities as fast as possible. However, the geysers were manufactured, but not installed as initially anticipated. And they were later housed within the supplier's premises over and above the 3 months stipulated period. So this is the reason why over a good, I think, 2 to 3 years, we were faced with this exorbitant storage cost. Suppliers charged the department, obviously, for safekeeping of the units, and then the department didn't anticipate that. We didn't anticipate that we will have delays in rolling out the units, meaning moving out the units from the manufacturers to eventually to the municipalities. So we were faced with many challenges, many delays, which resulted in those exorbitant storage costs. As a result, such expenditures that we incurred were regarded as fruitless and wasteful, and that could have been avoided had we carefully planned from day one, so we could have easily avoided such cost. So as I've said, so the department eventually faced this hefty price of 325 odd million, which was classified as fruitless and wasteful expenditure. With the help of KPMG, a forensic investigation was commissioned by the department, and the result of the investigation were shared with the accounting officer. That report, the accounting officer then obviously had to seek legal counsel from state law advisor on the plausible way forward. The advisor made certain recommendation on the extent and the manner in which the department should consider instituting and conducting, obviously, disciplinary proceedings against those who were found wanting, especially the officials within the department. So upon receiving that counsel, it was recommended that, okay, also in consultation with employee relations, the affected employees were also afforded an opportunity to respond to the alleged misconduct. And then the DG, obviously, accounting officer, issued the discipline notices, and also affording the officials to actually respond. And such response, just to give a high level of how many officials were involved. As we speak, we had 6 officials that are currently in the employ of the department that were part of the bid adjudication committee, as well as the project manager. So those 6 officials received the intention by the accounting officer discipline notices, and they were afforded an opportunity to provide their submissions to the accounting officers. So once the submissions were submitted to the accounting officer for considerations, they were reviewed, and upon review, it was later recommended that there should not be further actions taken against the officials. due to the reasons that were presented to the accounting officer for his consideration. And also subsequent to that, through the state law advisor, such submissions were accepted. We also had officials that have since left the department. 3 officials were also, once the investigations was concluded, they were no longer in the employ of the department. However, they were also afforded an opportunity to provide their submissions. 2 responded, and based on their responses, they were also later not found guilty as such. One of the officials, unfortunately today, didn't respond to the notice. We also had officials that have completely left state employment, and due to that, we could not pursue any further actions against them. So with that, committee members, we concluded that through the accounting officer that no further action should be taken against those who were found or stipulated in the report as being somehow guilty of not following the process or charged. So based on the reasons that were presented to the accounting officer, it was now recommended that they had valid cases and the main reasons were accepted, and such reasons were accepted, and they include the following. At the time of these events, the department already signed a contract, which is an SLA, with the suppliers that included a clause on storage costs. So with that in mind, the department had an obligation to pay those storage costs. I think the issue was about the obligation. The department was obligated to pay the costs. However, the only drop part is the costs associated with that were exorbitant. But the officials that were part of the BAC members, they acted in the best interest of the department, and they also had no choice. The department has no choice but to abide by the contractual obligations. Otherwise, the department would have been faced with litigation by those prospective contractors. So in short, the department already committed to storage cost as stipulated in the SLA. Otherwise, we would have faced another lengthy litigation process of not fulfilling our contractual obligation. So based on that, yes, the primary goal was to mitigate any further financial losses, of which we did by moving all the units out of those cost-bearing storage. So we're happy to say that in the current financial year, as I've alluded initially, we have not spent any money towards storage. And just concluding remarks, again, we are happy to say we are not spending any more money on storage. The only money that we'll be spending now is just to close off the project with the view of closing the project by end of April. The project, we are almost there. We're 95% to completion, and we hope that with the current plan that we have, we will be able to close off and complete installations by end of April. There are legal processes that are currently underway. We view that we have high chances of winning these cases that have been hanging for quite a while. Unfortunately, this has been going slow, but it wasn't anticipated. We hope that in the next quarter, in Q1 of the next financial year, we will be finishing with the litigation matters. Despite the challenges in the past, committee members, we still are of the view that there's a need for the program to continue, but not in its current form. We are planning to go back to the drawing board, put together a program that is sustainable, a program that is in line with the priorities of the 7th administration. We also want to make sure that with this program, we'll continue to help cushioning the poor from being exposed to the current high electricity costs. We're also of the view that this will also contribute towards lowering households' energy intensity and therefore carbon footprint. We also, again, in support of our localization imperatives, we think there's a huge opportunity within this program as we are moving towards facing the targets of at least rolling out 5 million units by 2030. We believe that with this program, it can result in a lot of creation of jobs, not only just but meaningful jobs where we can have our youth maybe in the field of apprentices, participating and having employment opportunities. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we are on a process of developing a new program which we'll call, obviously, a National Water Heater Program 2.0, of which we hope that with all the lessons that we've learned, the new program will indeed go a long way and meaningfully contribute towards the development of our economy. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you, and again, obviously, open the floor for any clarity-seeking questions. So, Chairperson, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kekana. Can I give over to the honorable members who would love to just interact in the issue? I see the head of my policy, followed by Honorable Mylem. Can I give over to those two hands first?
Honorable Frank, also Chair.
Yes, Honorable Singh, you will follow after Honorable Mylem. I'm able to see you here in the gadget.
And Honorable Nkosi, Chairperson.
Yes, Dianbona, wait. And
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you, Mr. Kekana, for the presentation. I'm afraid, Mr. Kekana, you came here to just spin a tale. We lost millions of rands, hundreds of millions of rands, over 300 millions of rands on storage alone. I'm not talking about the wasteful expenditure in procuring solar water heaters without a proper plan for rollout. Now, I think to tell us here that after all these years, nobody's responsible, everyone's story was accepted, it's unacceptable. So I think, Chairperson, this matter should not be allowed to just go and disappear silently. There's a huge cover up here. They were given a forensic report, and that forensic report highlighted people involved with the misappropriation of funds. Because when there's fruitless and wasteful expenditure, 300 million rand for storage, this is definitely an inside job to tell us that there's nobody involved in this, because nobody takes taxpayers' money without inside involvement. It's unacceptable that Mr. Kekana can come here and tell us that nobody's responsible. We are not fools. This is a most corrupt department, and it will continue being corrupt if we allow people who steal money to get away with it. Chairperson, this must not be allowed to lie down. We need to make sure that whoever has been involved in the theft of taxpayers' money is brought to book. Whether they are still employed by Eskom or not is neither here nor there. They took money. You can't steal money, resign, and then you get away, and then you get left alone. We must hunt them down. We must make an example of those who have stolen our money, our taxpayers' money. We must make an example of them. There must be no place to hide. This is unacceptable that people have left and nothing will happen. People have been fingered in forensic reports, and still Eskom just accept their story. It's ridiculous. We must make sure that we go externally, because dealing with Eskom, you can't allow Eskom to decide who of the employees are innocent. These are matters for the courts. And I want to know why weren't these cases taken outside of Eskom? We know most of the people that work there are corrupt. They steal our money. They cause us load shedding with their corruption. And all we're doing is saying there's nobody involved. No, there are people involved. And a whole lot of them must be brought to book. And for Mr. Kakana to come and tell us lies early on a Friday morning, it's ridiculous. We will look at this matter within the EFF and see how we are going to do a proper job where Eskom has failed. We're not going to allow people to get away with stealing 300 million. Worse still, undertake a program of this nature without a proper plan, simply just to go and spend money on solar heaters that we paid too much money for, that we haven't even determined whether this solar heater can be used by those communities. We went to buy stuff not knowing where we're going to put them. How ridiculous is that? Someone just went to buy things for the sake of buying things and had it stored somewhere. The reason why it was being stored was because there was no plan to roll them out. And we're going to hear a lot of stories about why rollout was delayed and that. It's not enough. I'm not going to allow taxpayers' money to be wasted buying things that we don't know whether they are usable. Most of that 11,000 solar heaters that were still in storage are not usable. Parts were stolen. And we still paid for the storage as well. Now, Chairperson, I've asked since a year ago, since the 6th Parliament, for them to show us and give us and provide us with a list of the municipalities and get the municipalities to give us a list as to where these solar heaters have been installed. I don't think they're being installed. I think we are being lied to once again. I don't trust anything coming from this department. We just deal with lies early on a Friday morning. So, Chairperson, I only have one request. And it's the same request every time we get this presentation. Give us a list of people in the various municipalities. And we mustn't be hearing stories that, there's no list, or wherever the list was held, something happened to that list, so we don't know where it was installed. There were installers. We want to know where those solar water heaters were installed. We want to go and look and see for ourselves. We will speak to beneficiaries as to how useful this solar water is to them. We're not going to accept this. It's not. Mr. Kakana's job here today was to come and close the story. It's not closed, Mr. Kakana. You have failed to close the story because we are not allowing Eskom to get away with this. We want to know, and Chairperson, we want to give a due date, and this committee must decide on a due date for that information to be supplied to us so that we can go and see for ourselves. We don't need Eskom to tag along and to lie to us. Tell us the municipality and also who the beneficiaries are. Contact details. It should be available. If it's not available, it is even more of a worry. Because some people are not doing the jobs. Well, no, very few people do the jobs at Eskom. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Chairperson, thank you. I'll try and be quick, and I'll try not to repeat myself like we've just heard Mr. Paulson do. But I do want to correct something before we proceed, and that is, this is not an Eskom project. It is a Department of Energy project. Eskom exited from this project many, many years ago, more than a decade ago. And when the project was under Eskom control, it was actually fairly well run. However, since it moved into the Department of Energy, that has been where the challenge has arisen. Which brings me to my questions. The first, Mr. Kekana, is what is the total cost of the program over its lifespan? How much have we spent on the total project? Secondly, if I take that total cost and divide it by the number of units, what is my cost per unit for these solar water heaters? And what was the original budgeted cost per unit? Then I have a question regarding the installers. One of the challenges that was identified several years ago was that there were unqualified installers and that there were no installation technicians available, and that the department had to go out and train these technicians. My question to you is, have you factored that into your planning for National Solar Water Heater Program 2.0? And if so, what does it entail? Then the other issue that was in question was the municipalities and their readiness to accept the National Solar Water Heater Program, and specifically to have sites, houses that were able to accept. So I would urge you to, before you enter into National Solar Water Heater Program 2.0, that you do on-site inspections to identify who the specific beneficiaries will be, which houses, where, and that they meet the standards. And to that point, the installation standards need to be identified. You need to say that the houses need to be of this standard, they need to be of this quality, the roof needs to be able to support a solar water geyser. My last point, and this I want to reiterate what Mr. Paulson said, I find it utterly appalling that not a single person has been held accountable for this mess that we find ourselves in, that we are hundreds of millions of rands over budget, and that not a single person is you've washed your hands, that the department has said, well, nobody's responsible, their arguments were acceptable. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. We've ended up in a situation where we have got a program that was not rolled out on time, it was not implemented properly, and has cost the taxpayers of South Africa hundreds of millions of rands more than it should have. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Otherwise, you can't say that consequence management has been implemented. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable Vin, and followed by Honorable Vusi, and then followed by Honorable Nchabelen and Papti, and then, yeah, the department.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me firstly appreciate the presentation for the information that is within it. And then secondly, also just thank the DM for her commitment to honor the mandate that she has, so that we can honor the mandate that we have to hold them accountable. Again, Mr. Kekane, thank you for the presentation that has been given to us. Maybe the first question to the DM, you mentioned in your introduction that there is a report that is outstanding and it was requested but not received, and it seemed as if it was blocked somewhere. When and how will this report that you requested be obtained, and when will it be presented to us as well? Then the following questions, perhaps Mr. Kekane can look at answering. The final one, I think, will be to the DM. Mr. Kekane, what process is in place and at what stage is it in to to deal with the 6,123 faulty units from CREST operations. That is the litigation, the replacement, and so on. Has it been concluded? At what stage is it in? Clearly, there's a lack of risk management in this entire process of rolling out these solar geysers, and the huge overruns of some 324 million rand as fruitless and wasteful expenditure. It is possible that there may be another rollout, as Mr. Kane said, to take this further in the outline years, financial years. What kind of risk management plan is now going to be in place? Because clearly one was absent to reduce this irregular, this fruitless, wasteful expenditure. So what kind of risk management plan is in place, should there be a further rollout in the outline financial years? What I have not seen also is what we are seeing is the cost of storage of some 324 million rand. That's just storage. But what about the cost of the overruns, the delays, the faulty geysers? So what is the total cost or loss to the department, to the taxpayer, should I say, of this particular project? And I agree with my previous two colleagues. It is unacceptable that with such huge amounts running into the hundreds of millions of rands, that we are told actually no one is responsible for these overruns and for these huge losses, fruitless, wasteful expenditure. No one is accountable. No one is responsible. Essentially, it's saying that we have a department where due process is not followed. And when due process is not followed, supply chain management processes are not followed. From a municipal view, municipal finance processes are not followed. Procurement processes are not followed, but nobody is accountable. And we can't find anybody at fault. I think that's unacceptable. So I want to agree with my two colleagues previously on that score. And then finally, perhaps a question to the DM. Eskom is said to be losing revenue due to the amount of solar users in South Africa, the amount of people, both business and just private individuals. There have been reports that Eskom, excuse me, is seeking to charge these users fixed cost fees in order for Eskom to maintain grid connection. Can you confirm that this is the case? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Nkosi, followed by Honorable Chabile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to yourself, the DM, and all honorable members in the meeting, and also the department. Chair, I think this is the second time we are having the department and giving us a report on this project, and it is always heartbreaking what we hear, what is happening out there. It is heartbreaking because we cannot just lose 300 million that was supposed to assist so many families, and now it's gone and nobody is held accountable. It is heartbreaking and it's not correct at all. I do not agree with it as well, Chairperson. If there was investigations done, why, when the investigations or the report was not taken to the prosecuting authority than taken to the department, and that was it. I think some of the things are not done properly. There's a lot of money that was supposed to assist lots and lots of families, and it's now gone down the drain. Chair, there is around 2,284 units that has been identified for auction. I wanted to check, Chairperson, if what happened to that amount that were used to auction when they were auctioning those 2,284. Did they buy other units so that they can install for the families, or just also the amount just went missing? I wanted to check as well, Chair, if the people or the service providers that are being hired, are they being given training to do the installations? Are you training your installers as well, so that we cannot have these challenges that I see when we are going to go to do the 2.0 project going forward? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi, Honorable Chabile, followed by Honorable Bapti.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you, members, as well as the Minister, for the presentation and the presentation. I think the quick questions we should be asking quickly is regarding the fruitless and wasteful expenditure that was just explained regarding the program. You know, this is quite concerning. The project was intended to benefit low indigent households, which means people with no means and everything. And so far, we hear that there's been a loss, not just only a loss, there's been a lot of corruption and theft regarding the project and the project funds, including even the shoddy installation and all of that. So I think this is something that we shouldn't be taking it lying down and really be almost, nonchalant about it. Our people are suffering. This project should have been extremely helpful to them. The worst part is even the definition. There's no such a thing called a water heater. This either it's a geyser or it is to do with a particular instrument that deals with this. And so the definition of the project itself is actually not so clear. But we would like to understand, can we get a report, Minister, from your office? We know you were not previously responsible for this project. The department is fairly new. You have inherited a backlog of historical issues. So in this case, can you just maybe in assistance, provide us with a detailed report on what happened? Because this is a major story. This is a major issue of what has happened in the department in regards to a solar heater project, so solar geyser project, which was supposed to have been implemented. You had intended to benefit about 5 million recipients of indigent households. In South Africa, we've got about 9.5 million indigent households. If that project was implemented successfully, almost half of South Africa's indigent households would have benefited properly and accordingly. But when we see the kind of report that we are receiving, and the fact that this is something that is intended to be swept under the carpet and under the rug, and issues must never be raised afterwards. This must be a closed up project and then packed up, and there must be no issues with regards to inquiries, even though there will be a litigation undergoing behind the scene, is not satisfactory to us. We feel that we need to dive deeper, and we need to get some of the information of what has really truly gone on behind the scene on this project, because I can't believe it that so much of money. I got a shock. I thought I was hearing 50 million rands of storage, but if it's 350 million rands in storage supplied by suppliers who by contract, the fact that you're buying a component from them, they should be providing you free storage without even cost. So how do we get to the point where we are charged 350 million worth of storage from suppliers who are supplying the same components that they store anyway without even having to worry. They only take it out of storage and then go and give it to the unit where they are actually installing it at. So this is a major level of covered up corruption. Whoever has benefited, whoever has been part of this, cahoot of benefiting from this unduly, has been really, unfairly, prejudicing the public, as well as the South Africans. Huge amounts of money has been wasted on this project, and we need a drill down of it. We need to get to the bottom of what truly happened, and we really, truly request for a report detailing the issues, the people, the aspect of the shoddy work done, and their beneficiaries who has benefited, and where we can even go and do on our own an evaluation of this process to see if on an oversight level, if these things have been installed. You have listed the municipalities. We're in all of those municipalities. So we want to go and do an oversight and see if this project had benefited the people, the municipalities that were responsible for it, what have they done, and what has been the results out of this. I feel that you're taking this matter very lightly, especially the presenter. Minister, you're still new in this one. We are not going to blame you for any of this. But in respect to the department, the line officials who knows what has happened, we need a detailed report on this matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Chavileng, Honorable Bapti.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I've been covered to a large extent by Honourable Marlam and Paulson, but there is an aspect, I think, of the project that needs to be highlighted, and that is if one measures it against the target, what was installed is marginally over 1%. So I think we have to be honest and say that the project failed. But the department now talks about project number 2, and that's a concern, because what is quite evident is the design of this particular object, this particular type of installation is such that it doesn't work. I've been to some of the installations to have a look for myself. The majority of them don't work. And the absence of a post-installation report, I think, is evidence enough that there's a problem. I'm not suggesting that the department should do a post-installation report, because I think that would be throwing good money after bad. But I'm pretty sure that were the case, we would have an outcome of less than 1%. But if you look at the project itself, when it was designed, there were 6 outcomes for which it was designed, and none of those outcomes are mentioned anywhere in the report, and there's no statistics to show that any of them were achieved to any degree. So my input, Chair, is that the department should look beyond just solar water heating programs. It doesn't have to be solar water heating. Direct solar water heating is not that effective and not that efficient. There are other options, I think, that are much better. Thank you.
Chair, can you put me on the queue also?
Okay, you can come in.
Okay, thank you very much. Chairperson, I would like to thank the presenter. But to me, looking at the presentation in September and today, the presenter looks like he was on an insurance presentation. The details we asked for in September are still not provided today. Remember, Chairperson, one of my questions were, in eThekwini, these were installed, evidently there, but they are not functioning. I went to 3 sites with a human settlement official of eThekwini. There is nothing that functions. There is nothing that is used as a benefit of this installation. This thing is like a Christmas tree. It's not functioning in eThekwini in 3 sites. And each of those sites were more than 500. I would like to know how many of these sites that the department has been able to establish that the installations continues to be faulty, unworkable, and unusable. And it's no longer the request for an oversight from the committee. We should demand an urgent oversight to go and see these places, probably as urgent as possible. Because what is being done here, Chair, we have a 21-year or even more project for the benefits of the new colleagues. This project was started in 2001 under ESCOM. It moved to the ministry. And ever since then, there's been ways of milking this project. If the SIU has to be brought, they must be brought now. Because there is more money being milked in this project. I have never been so confident of proposing a shutdown of a project. This project is one of those that immediately need a shutdown. There is nothing to reform here. The entire project plan is non-existent. The gentleman talks of 73, and then again he says 59. Then he says they're left with 3,000. Between that period of September and now, those things are supposed to have been finished. We are being told a tale. This is a fairy tale story that the department seems to be happily able to present to us. There is such confidence also in this corruption that no one even wants to say to us, there is things that are not workable, there is things that are not functioning well. Nobody seems to take us into confidence as to what has been the added value to communities as a result of this project. This has been a huge money down the drain, and the benefits are accrued to the executives of the department. You can't tell me that so much money has gone without the signatures of the executives. It's not possible. Every invoice was signed by an executive. We want to know who. We want to know what purposes did he understood as a reason for paying these invoices. Because there's been conniving, colluding activities between the installers, those who were holding up the stock, and the executives of the department. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members. I don't see any other hand. I see the hand of the acting DG. I don't think he needs even to raise a hand here, because the department will be given an opportunity to say all what they want to say. But the reality of the matter, this really frustrates department. This really frustrates. Whenever you present it, it has its own challenges that we are getting from. But the reality of the matter, this is not good. I'm not going to repeat all what has been said by honorable members, but I am damn frustrated about this. Maybe if we give you department, Mr. Kakana and the acting DG, to answer all these questions, maybe something better will happen. I don't know what is it. Because even these things of storage monies that are being spent, you know, I agree with the honorable members that is saying this needs an oversight, physical visit to this project and it is urgent. Anyway, maybe let's give over to I see the hand of TM. I don't know, TM, whether we are going to answer for them or we should give them first and then you get where they have left. Okanye they have. But
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to do that. There were a couple of questions posed to me as well, so I just didn't want you to forget that there were questions that I needed to answer directly, and then if you're happy with that, then I'll close off once Mr. Pillay and Mr. Kekana have spoken. Thank you.
Thank you, TM. Over to you, acting DG, and also DG Kekana. Then the DM will just.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to members and colleagues and DM, of course. Chair, I didn't actually intend to speak, but I think given the nature of inputs, it's important to say a word or two. And I think the first point for me is that as we enter the period of a new department, I think we really want to draw a line, and that line must not be to suggest that to hide anything. Drawing the line means we want to start with a clean slate, and that clean slate must be underpinned by a culture and ethos that upholds some of the values that members have spoken to. So the accountability issues, the issues for value for money, the issues for how taxpayers' money is efficaciously applied and used to the benefit of particularly vulnerable communities. So I think for me, the point is that as we go into both the new department generally, but specifically as we conceptualize phase 2, we cannot do so if this cloud is hanging over the department. So I think that DDG does make the point that there was an effort to look at the outcomes of the forensic report, and on the basis of that, a determination was made that there's no basis for any further action. I will just say, in the nature of any prosecutorial or inquisitorial proceedings, I mean, on the basis of what are the facts before you make a determination if there's a prima facie case to be answered. And when you do that, you attempt to understand what is the balance of probability of a successful prosecution. And a critical element there in that successful prosecution is what is the public interest. And I think for me, even, I mean, on the version that officials were not complacent, even on that version, for me the public interest question is critical in how we deal with this, because clearly from the portfolio committee here, and I think if you subject this conversation to any public platform, I don't think the sentiments that members of the committee have expressed will be different if we expose it to any other platform. So for me, at the very least, we must deal with this question of what is in the public interest. And that public interest suggests that we have a program that has cost the taxpayer 300 million rands as a minimum, has not achieved the intended objective. It undermines the public interest. And on that very basis, I think there's a case to be answered. Now, the question is, how does that case get to be answered? And there are obviously two elements. One is on the HR side, so you can do the internal processes. And then there's the real possibility that they may need to be civil litigation or prosecution of officials who were found, or at least on the basis of the evidence presented, may have a case to answer to. And I think what we might need to do, what we might need to do, DM, I think on behalf of Minister and the Deputy Minister, to suggest at the very least is to subject the findings to some kind of an independent review, so that review, independently of the department, arrives at a decision on one, is there indeed a prima facie case to be answered, and who are the individuals that must answer to that case, and what is the appropriate fora in which that case must be answered to. So if it's an HR process, if it's civil litigation, those triggers must then be activated, so that ultimately, as we get into phase 2, there's confidence that at the very least, the basis on which we enter into phase 2 is a solid basis. It's a basis that everybody can put their commitment to. I'm sure if we come back to the committee and say we're going into phase 2, we're not going to be able to successfully convince the committee we can move into phase 2 when these matters still continue to hang over the head of the department. So I think at the very least we must make that commitment. There's a request that we've put out. I think a number of colleagues have asked that we have a formal close-out report, and I'm sure the intention was to do that. I guess we will just have to expedite it so that we get to that point much quicker. And then just the last point, Chair, I think there are very helpful contributions in framing phase 2. But I think there's also a question about, even for the installations that have been effected, are they achieving the objective? And as we close out the project, closing out must mean that we've closed it out to that extent. We've looked at whether the intention of the project, the objective of the project has been achieved, and where it hasn't, we may have to understand what kind of remedial or corrective action is taken, so that the kind of issues that Member Mbata raises on the case at end of the eThekwini experience is put to bed, and communities who are intended to be beneficiaries of this program, in fact, or are indeed able to say that they have benefit in the manner that we're intended to. I'll leave it there. I'm sure there are questions that DDG Kekana would want to respond to in terms of the detailed issues that were raised. Chair, thank you very much, yourself and members.
Thank you very much, Acting DG. But maybe it's my also duty to remind you that when you have to start in a clean slate, you have to first wipe what was written in the slate. And much as this is a new department, but the projects that are there are not new. It's things that were happening. And the unfortunate thing is that when you get into the department, you are not going to be asked what time have you joined the department, which year. You are going to have to answer even the ones that you were not present during that time. But it is good for the department also to tell us exactly new things, that as you hear that this is supposed to be the update in terms of the previous meeting that we. So I want to caution the department on that. That it's really frustrating. I'm repeating myself. And how we wish that at the end of the day, we can be able to conquer this and make it sure that we are in one line of understanding these issues. I'll give over to DDG Kekane so that the DM can at least be able to summarize everything and also get into things that you think you might have missed there. Over to you, Mr. Kekane.
Thank you, Chairperson. And once more, thanks, honorable members, for their feedback and comments. But yeah, what's disheartening, of course, we understand the concerns that they've raised. And as a team, we also acknowledge the fact that, I must say it, put it here, the project is a total failure, and we come a long way. And to interim DG's sentiment, we will want to recognize all the failures that brought us to this point. But yes, most importantly, to be given an opportunity to start on a clean slate, and not to say that we don't assume the responsibility of the status of the project. Yes, the issue about people being that must be brought to book, that's indeed our intention. So the forensic report, obviously through interim DG and honorable DM, we will get advice how best it can be shared with the committee members. There was a question about are these units, are they really there? Which municipalities? I must say, committee members, they are municipalities, and we're willing to take the committee members to those municipalities that have participated on the program, the beneficiaries that that have enjoyed the installations, who are still making use of these units that are still in good conditions, that are still usable. We have those beneficiaries in our books across the country. So we are willing, as soon as time permits, we can take committee members to such places. I must also reflect on Honorable Mylan's questions and valuable inputs. The total cost of the project to date, as a department, we have spent over 981 million rands to date. That 981 million includes cost for manufacturing, which is sitting at 400 million. The storage cost that is the subject of the investigation, which is 324 million. And the installations and the consumables combined, the total cost was sitting at roughly 250 million. So all in all, yes, the department to date has spent just under R1 billion, of which, yeah, it's not a nice figure to mention. Cost per unit, originally the cost per unit was sitting at about I think 12 to 13,000 per unit. But if one has to do a quick calculation of where we are today, I think the cost per unit has skyrocketed to about 25,000 rand per unit, which we are not proud of. There was a questions about the installers, whether they were qualified to do the job. Yes, in the past, there were instances where we found that some of the installers, or the majority of installers, were not really qualified. And again, I don't want to harp on the fact that the project, the way it was conceived, there were a lot of holes in terms of the specifications. However, we have since ensured that there is training, proper training that is being conducted before an installation can commence. And then we try to mitigate that. In the new program, are we going to factor training and development? Absolutely. As we go back to our drawing board, of course, with the help of some of the what you call industry experts, we will ensure that the new program, when we conceptualize it, we tick all the boxes, and we to ensure that we don't face the similar challenges that we faced in the past. Let me see. There are questions for the DM. The issue about eThekwini, Honorable Nkosi mentioned that there were 2,000 odd units. Okay, there were few units that Honorable Nkosi indicated that they are lying on the roads or on the streets of eThekwini. I must say, Honorable Nkosi, we are not aware of such units, but currently eThekwini, we are present at eThekwini. It's one of the listed municipalities that we are currently involved, and we are busy with installations. So we are not aware of any units that might be lying around on the streets, but we'll be happy if we are guided, and we can ensure that we can take appropriate steps about that. But within the current wards that we're busy with in eThekwini, there is no unit that is lying on the road. All the installations are being carried out as planned, with the anticipated completion date of around April. The issue about KPMG report is here. Failure. I think all in all, I've tried to summarize just the technical questions, and I think the common theme lies on the issue about what something should be, something should happen as a result of, or officials will be held accountable as a result of this fruitless and wasteful expenditure. And I'll leave that to the Honorable DM to perhaps provide guidance on the way forward. Thank you, DM, through Chair. Over to you.
Thank you, DDG. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to speak again. And thank you to our interim DG for his inputs, which I think were very valuable. And let me express again that I completely share the sentiment of this entire portfolio committee. As I said at the beginning of the meeting, I was on the other side with you guys, 10 months ago, and I was also as irate and as upset by this project as you are. And I remain so. So please understand that this is not a project that we are going to just allow to disappear and be swept under the carpet. It definitely will not be swept under the carpet, Honourable Ntshabaleng. So please note that we have submitted a letter from my office to the Director General of the erstwhile DMRE, requesting the forensic report, which we've not been given access to, as well as to ask for the lists of reasons why, or the lists of the reasons that were given by the people that have been charged as to what has happened, in order to understand how come there has been no accountability at this point, and there's been nobody found guilty of anything. When the DDG was talking about the cost of the project, if you look at the 981 million, of that, the bulk went to storage. Storage doesn't create jobs and it doesn't improve our economy. A project like this should be doing both. And when only 4 million rand has been spent on manufacture, and 324 million has been spent on something that doesn't create any jobs, doesn't create any new industry, doesn't provide any feed into the industry, then you know that you've got a project that is an abject failure. And if we're going to proceed with a solar water heater program 2.0, our primary focus has got to be on finding ways to improve the manufacturing capabilities of this country, to develop a manufacturing system around this, and then to create jobs around the installations with proper training and proper development. So just by looking at those numbers, you can see that this project was completely off balance in terms of the way that the money was spent. And we can't allow for government programs to continue to feed small private sector people who are benefiting when we're not creating jobs and improving the economy. In terms of the questions that were sent straight through to me, so yes, so we are requesting the audit report. Once we've had a look at that, we will certainly we will put together a full report on our findings from our office for the portfolio committee. I'm very happy to share that. So yes. And then that was asked by both Honourable Thring and Honourable Ntshabaleng. Honourable Mbata, I agree with you on oversight, and I think up until now, my involvement in this, as we've been finding our feet in the department, has been to work with a desktop study. But I'd like to give my undertaking that we will go and do on-site visits. I think it's important that as the ministry, we go and see where these have been installed and try and get an understanding of why they've worked where they've worked and why they haven't where they haven't, and make sure that the information we are receiving is accurate, and that where we've been told that these have been installed, they have been in fact installed and they are working. So I'm just giving you my undertaking that we will do site visits. This will not just be a desktop study as we move into this. I'm not prepared for us to do a new program where we haven't actually completely interrogated this program. So I think it's imperative that we do that. And Chair, I completely agree with your points on a clean slate. There is no clean slate if we've still got this thing hanging over us. We have to close this out properly. And I think it's important also, just in DDG Kekana's defense, he also came in very much at the tail end of this program. And DDG Kekana has been running programs not just on the energy side, but also on the mineral side. So I think going forward, we will have a lot more focus on these projects that will allow us to do them properly. We can't carry on wasting taxpayers' money like this. It is completely unacceptable. And I think you've heard from all of us that everybody who's on the meeting today absolutely agrees with the portfolio committee on this. Just one final question that isn't related to this, but that Honourable Thring asked with respect to the charges by Eskom on rooftop solar. I think it's important to realise that one of the things that has to happen, and it's a NERSA requirement, is that any rooftop solar that is grid tied needs to be registered, either with Eskom or with the municipality, because it's important that whoever the electricity provider is for that area is aware of what systems are live on their system. There's a real genuine risk that if a system gets shut down for maintenance and either Eskom or the municipality is unaware of the fact that there are live systems linked to the grid, there's a risk of either causing damage to the grid or also putting people working on the grid at risk. So it's very important that that registration takes place. In addition, anybody who has solar, rooftop solar, and wants to feed into the grid and earn money through the small scale embedded generation program would need then also to be registered. Whether there's going to be an ongoing cost levied against that, we are not clear on, and we will come back to you with that answer. But for this, at this stage, the registration is the thing that is the most important, just to make sure that the municipality or Eskom is aware of what systems are grid tied. Remember, Eskom's responsibility is to ensure the security of the grid. And if the quality of the electricity coming into it is insufficient or is in any way going to cause damage, Eskom needs to be alerted to that. So we will provide more feedback on that and what that will look like going forward once we have more clarity on it. So I hope that's answered your question. And once again, please, we are extremely happy with the robust engagement that we've had. And I think the portfolio committee is not speaking for themselves alone, but for the taxpayers of this country when they speak about the absolute wasteful expenditure that has gone into this program. And I can give you my assurance that we will do a thorough investigation of where we're at on it, how we can improve. And if we can hold people responsible, we will definitely be doing that. That is my undertaking to you today. Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity to speak again.
Thank you, TM. You know, these gadgets are sometimes freezing. I'm trying to unmute myself, but it was not easy. Honorable members, that's the answers that we managed to get from the department, which the DM is also promising that they will come up with other reports that they managed to get, but so far so good, they couldn't get those. Can we then say, Honorable Secretary, I don't see any other hand from now. No, the follow-up hands. So let me thank you, the department, the DM, the DDG, and all the officials that are part and parcel of this meeting. This item is done for today, but we will await from the secretary to tell us when is this report going to come, and it needs to be very urgent, DM and the DG. Can we then step off the item and get into the next one? Ariko? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So the next item is the consideration and adoption of the minutes of 5 March, Chair. I've split the two sets of minutes. The first one is the NERSA one, and the second one is the meeting with the Danish Parliament Chair. So I'll flight the where is it now? The minutes. Where is my minutes? Oh, sorry, Chair. I must quickly go and open it.
Ariko, what's happening now?
Yes. Yeah, no, I had to go and fetch the minutes quickly, Chair, in order to share it. There we go, Chair.
Okay.
This is 5 March, the meeting with NERSA, Chair.
Mhm.
The meetings was, I mean, the minutes was sent to members, Chair.
Even if the minutes were sent, Rico, you must
Mhm.
also lead us on these minutes.
That's fine, Chair. So 1, opening remarks. 2, adoption of the agenda items. Presentation by the NERSA. And then the discussions that followed the presentation. And then the consideration and adoption of those previous minutes, 20 February. And then adjournment, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Secretary. Are there corrections, amendments, and whatever in these minutes? Can I see the hand who will adopt them as a true reflection?
Mayor Tan's hand is raised, Chair.
Fasia, Honorable Fasia.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy to move for the adoption of the minutes as a true reflection of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Honorable Fasia. And then Honorable Mailem.
Seconded.
Okay, Honorable Mailem seconds the minute of the 5th. The next set of minutes.
Oh, no. No, wait, Chair. Sorry, Chair. I opened the wrong one. Apologies for that, Chair. So here we go. Again, this is the Wednesday, 5 March, the joint meeting of the PC on Electricity and Energy and the PC on Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment with the Danish Parliamentary Portfolio Committee for Climate, Energy and Utilities, Chair. So first, the welcoming remarks by the Chair, Ganso. Presentation by Honorable Mbana. Presentation by Honorable Ganso. And then engagements. And then remarks by the leader of the delegation. And then adjournment, Chair. Those are the minutes of 5 March as well.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Secretary. Can I get additions, corrections from the minutes? And after that, I get someone who is saying that it's a true reflection.
Mayor Hassan's hand is raised, Chair.
Mayor Hassan?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to move for the adoption of the minutes as a true reflection.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Fasia. And then Honorable Ngosi?
Seconding Honorable Hassan and as a true reflection of the.
Thank you. They are seconded and they are adopted. Thanks so much. Quickly, Honorable, Secretary, get into the next item.
The next item deals with the update on the oversight visit, Chair, for 24 to 28 March.
Okay.
So the plan, Chair, is to leave our various destinations on Sunday 23rd and converge at the OR Tambo International Airport at around 3 o'clock, from where we'll drive to Emalahleni, where we'll sleep at the Ridge Hotel for the one night on Sunday the 23rd. On Monday the 24th, we plan to meet at the Komati Power Station which is close to Emalahleni, Chair. There we envisage schedule a meeting with the various stakeholders regarding the decommissioning. These stakeholders include Eskom, organized labor, the local municipality, Steve Tshwete local municipality, the Komati Steering Committee, and the Presidential Climate Commission. So we plan to finish there around 3 o'clock, Chair, because, yeah, I've neglected to include, but we just want a tour as well of the power station. So that will be from 2 till around 3:30, Chair. From there, we'll depart to Gauteng. We'll sleep in Sandton. And then on Tuesday, the 25th, there's the 60th anniversary of Safari 1, Chair. We've been invited to attend this anniversary at Nexa, Pelindaba. Then on Wednesday, the 26th, we plan to go to the Kusile Power Station in Mpumalanga, where we'll meet with Eskom, where they will give us a brief overview of Kusile. And then also included with that is a tour of the Kusile Power Station. From Monday, the 24th, we'll sleep in Sandton for the duration of the week, Chair. Then on Thursday, the 27th, we want to schedule meetings at the DMRE head offices in Pretoria, Matimba House. There, the morning, we'll meet with DMRE, National Treasury, Kokta and Salga on the debt owed to Eskom. So that's the morning meeting. And then the afternoon, a briefing by the DMRE on SAREN, the South African Renewable Energy Master Plan. Then on Friday, the 28th, we'll go to Sanedi. Sanedi is apparently just about 2 kilometers away from where we're sleeping, Chair, so it's close by. We'll have a meeting with Sanedi where Sanedi will brief us on the green hydrogen industry and then just a tour of their offices, Chair. So after lunch, then we'll depart to our various destinations, Chair. So that's the oversight in a nutshell, Chair. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Secretary. Honorable Fasia, I don't think there is a lot that needs to be said in this. Honorable Fasia.
Thanks, Chair. Just a quick one. I just wanted to confirm that the travel time has been factored into the plans, getting from point A to point B, especially because we're going to be traveling some far distances so that, the expectation is of when we arrive, we're not late or early or whatever the case may be. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Fasia. We have adopted the visit, so there's no need for it. It's just the update. Thank you ever so much for that. If there is anything that will crop up, you will communicate with the Secretary. Thank you very much. The next item, the last one.
Lee will quickly brief us on that, Chair. Lee, you do have co-hosting, right, Chair?
Lee?
Yes, yes. Just sharing my screen.
Chair, may I make a proposal? It's Honorable Hassan.
Okay.
Chair, I'm very happy to receive this presentation, but we have 2 minutes left before we expect it in mini plenaries. So perhaps, Chair, we take the presentation in the 2 minutes, but we conclude on it next week. I just don't think there'll be time for us to discuss and find a way that, concludes this, because actually it's 1 minute left now. Thanks, Chair. Be in your hands.
No, I don't think there will be a need for discussion on this. Maybe if anyone has got contrary view out of what has been put by Lee in that report, this has been with us for quite a longer time, and I don't want us to postpone anymore now. Can I have any other view out of the proposal that have been made by the report? If none, then we will have to take the report to...
Sorry, Chair, my hand is up. Chair, I don't want to object or anything like that. I just want to make a suggestion. So there are 4 options for the study tour proposal there. And I want to suggest that in terms of the just energy transition and what we're looking at, it might be a good idea to focus on one of them rather than debate all four. And maybe Lee can come back to us on that. And in particular, I'd like to suggest maybe Germany and Poland being the two, they could be combined and give us an overview of a just energy transition, particularly from a coal to renewables environment where there's high impact of trade unions, social upheaval, etc., etc. Chair, that's just a proposal.
Okay, thank you. Is there any contrary view out of Germany and Poland? We need to have at least two.
Chair,
Then
my hand is up.
Yes.
Chair, I think I like the idea of Germany as well, but I wanted to also put forward the idea of Canada. They've also got a very interesting case study, and especially because apart from the vast areas that they need to deal with, how they dealt with the just energy transition and indigenous communities who are on that land, etc., does have quite a parallel to some of the issues we're even going to see during our oversight. So I wanted to deposit Canada as well, in addition to Germany, but I thought I should just put that there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At least two people, or two honorable members, have made mention of Germany, followed by Poland and Canada. We can put the three of them early and then send it straight and check for the cost, because it also depends on the cost, as we know that. So can we just stop there and say that we'll rely on Lee to look at that and send those two as priority one, and and the following one will be 2 and 3. We can send 3, it doesn't matter, and then we look at the cost out of that, then we send it. Thank you very much, honorable members.
Chair, can I just quickly say, Chair, that I support the recommendation for Canada, and I think in the light of just the parallels. So if you're looking for numbers, it would be 2 people that support Canada. Thank you.
Okay, we can make Poland as 3, then German 1, Canada 2, then Poland 3. Bye. Bapti?
Yeah, Chair. What strikes me is that we have 2 countries right next to each other, where the energy mix is quite different in each. So we get that diversity, and the social political situation is different in each. And from a diversification point of view, and from getting a broader spectrum of the mix and the technologies that are available, Poland and Germany being next to each other, we could see them both in one trip. And for that reason, I would support.
When you say both, which are those?
Poland and Germany.
Okay.
Because they're right next to each other. Okay. And what I'm saying is that seeing the 2 different countries with 2 different energy mixes and different socio-political situations.
Which one is that? Which
that's
one
I'm
is
saying
that?
Both Germany and Poland. They're right next door to each other.
The second one out of the 2 that you are mentioning, which one is it?
I was saying that 2 of them can be done together because they are adjacent.
I agree, Bapti. What I'm asking from you, which one will follow that? Because it will depend on whether we are being...
Canada, then I would say Canada next.
Okay, sure. It means we are not one another. Thanks ever so much. Members also assist Uli to look at it, and also with the secretary, and we will forward. Only thing that we must remember, it's only 5 honorable members that are allowed and 1 backup staff that are supposed to go. So, in fact, members should also agree on themselves between the 3, which one is going to go and which one. And out of that, the chairperson and the whip are compulsory to go, and then we'll look at the 3 other options. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Let's join the mini plenaries. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chair. Very efficient. Thank you.
Let's join.
Thank you.
Sure.